I knew who Billy Connelly was, and they gave me a headshot. Like, if you take your camera and frame this up right here, all right, you got him in there. That's God. Right? He looks exactly like God. And I realized the character had to have this thing, right? So I met with him, and I was really trying to sell him on it. I brought this, remember I had like a Trapper Keeper fucking notebook with artist drawings in it and all the little bits of the script.
That's right.
He's like, oh, it's great, you've done all this preparation. I'm giving him this big pitch, and he's like, well, yeah, we're doing this, right? And I was like, he had kind of assumed, yeah, we're doing it. And I had assumed, like, I had to convince him. And after a while, he was like, you don't need to fucking sell me. I'm done. I'm in.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to be a bad guy for
Because he wanted me in it. I wanted to be in it. My agent didn't want me to be in it. He said, it's a penny halfpenny thing, man. They've got no money. The man's crazy. And I'm saying, but it sounds okay to me.
To me, that's like that's the reason I do shit sometimes. Because my agent doesn't want, oh, it's ridiculous. You can't possibly do that.
Yeah.
Really?
Whoa. It sounds interesting.
Maybe I ought to read that again.
Plus, we're in a bar with his brothers and all his other hairy friends. And I thought, this is okay. I like this. These are the kind of guys I understand. And he took me outside and said, look, I said, I want to do it. I had to talk him into it. He's still talking me in, and I was on, people won't take yes for an answer.
And then a Scottish guy comes up to him, and it got so Scottish, it's that kind of Scottish where you can't get in. It feels like a foreign language. Yeah. I didn't know what the fuck you guys were talking about. I didn't know what. And this guy comes up, and him and Billy are hugging, and his wife's there, and Billy's hugging the wife, and everybody's going. And I'm like, wow, that's kind of weird. What are the chances of that? You meeting somebody you know in Los Angeles right when you come out of the bar, and he goes, oh, I didn't know him. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? He's like, all Scottish people just think they know one another. When they meet each other, it's it. You have to, like, do it. Like, I've had people come and yank me off a dinner table with my wife.
That's true, yeah. I'll be watching Troy directing, and he used to, on the first one, he didn't really know a lot of the terms for the things he was pointing at, but he got it just the same. And now he still doesn't seem to know the terms for what he's getting at, but he's doing it with so much more confidence.
I remember the other day they were like, we were trying to move over the table. We were doing that table shot to try to get to you over the table.
Oh, yes.
And I was like, I had learned that one, right? It's called a ubangi. It does that, which I fucking love that word, right?
Ubangi, that's African, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought, right? But a ubangi is this arm that brings the camera right over the table, and you can move around the table to a guy. So we had done that earlier on. I learned that term, and I was like, when you were sitting there, I was like, okay, get the ubangi out and do it. And everybody's like, oh, we liked you better when you didn't know shit.
Well, I keep saying rock and roll when I talk about Troy. It's not like film. It's not like drama. Although the stuff stands up, it's the dialogue is good, the drama is good, the filmmaking is of a very high quality. But there's an essence of rock and roll. Sometimes in film there's an essence of college, you get the feeling everybody's been to college and they've passed a lot of exams, and it's all tra-la-la. But this, it's rock and roll, it's bang, bang, and the audience understand it. That's why they took to it. So a certain type of person took to it. I don't know if you remember hearing rock and roll for the first time, and the first thing that dawns on you is, this is for me, this isn't for my parents. This is mine. Well, this is the film version of that. For me, it's the film, and I recognize it when I see it. There's a funk involved in it that appeals to me.
We just added something that had no words in it to the end of the scene, and I think it's going to be a hilarious moment. There just happened to be a bottle of whiskey in the Irish farmhouse we were shooting in it. I said, what the hell, put it next to Dad. And there's Billy, and I'm realizing that most of his shots are with this bottle of whiskey, and there's a moment where his own brother turns to him and is like, what are we going to do? And me and Billy worked out this thing where he just looks at his brother, grabs the whiskey, and starts pouring, right? Which was not in the script.
No, it wasn't.
And there were no words, added there. It was just a nice little thing. And by the time it plays out in the script, it's going to be almost like a perfect little picture of Irish culture, They pay just enough attention to their own Catholic guilt and all that stuff and the religion, but when they're really faced with problems, the first thing they do is Pam. Drink and then we'll talk about this and settle it. And they always start out with, well, we're going to have a drink so that we can settle this. This is what needs to be done, you know? And they just end up getting pissed and beating the crap out of each other.
Because you have to understand, in most societies, there's life, dance halls, theatres, all sorts of stuff. And on the periphery of that, you have alcohol. Well, in Scottish and Irish life, there is alcohol. On the periphery of that, you have life. And there's a lot of one takes, you know, which is such a delight, because there's nothing worse than doing 19 takes and then finding that they printed the first one. you know what I mean?
Because then you get like, what, are you fucking with me?
Yeah.
Are you fucking with me?
Yeah, because
it's like
because as you do more and more takes, inevitably the strength or the essence gets diluted as you go along. Sometimes, very rarely, it'll get better. Maybe between you come up with something that wasn't there before. But normally, one of you will be deeply disappointed as it goes along. But there's an essence in the first one. There's a life in the first one that comedians really understand and rock people understand. When you get it the first time, to be working with someone who recognises that, goes, print, let's move along. You go, Jesus, this is good.
I think with you and I, sometimes we'll after the first take or two, a new idea will come up. You know?
Oh, that's a different thing. And when a new idea comes in.
Then it's weird to watch those dailies too, because you got the first time, and the second time, third time, suddenly you got a cigar in. Yeah. And I remember the moth shot.
Oh,
yeah. He didn't even see it. He's sitting there and he's having his best take. And at this moment, a moth comes in and starts flying around his beard, and then exits frame. And you're gonna love the line the moth came in on. It's when it's during that time where you're like, there's about 1,000 easier ways to kill somebody. Trust me.
Yes.
Right? And
Billy's
Billy's
I've got a butterfly on my hand.
Got a butterfly on his hand, right? So after we were still rolling and we were still talking in camera, keep him motivated. And I had seen the moth on my little screen. And I was like, awesome. I remember one of the camera guys says, we're going to have to redo that. There was a moth that flew up. And I was like, I love the fucking moth. The moth stays. He's in the movie. Because then people will be like, did they release that moth? What's the significance of the moth? People talk about that weird shit.
Because there are moth wranglers. I've met a moth wrangler.
You know, on this one, because we have the butterfly, we were extending with this analogy is coming from, we were really messing with the whole butterfly thing. When you die, there's going to be...
Yes.
And you're looking up, and the last thing you see is butterflies coming through there, right? We're doing that, and they have butterflies with little tiny fucking strings on them.
No.
I am not shitting you. And if you want them in camera and it's to be fluttering around in frame, there's a guy fucking standing right off camera with a thing, and the butterflies are flying around and they just can't get out because they're tied to these little tiny invisible fucking strings. And we're using them. We got 5 of those.
It's nuts.
And one guy who's our little puppeteer with the fucking thing.
Yeah.
A live butterfly.
It's just, we did a thing with seagulls once, and you put a fishing line through their nostrils, and it ties their beak closed. You know, so when you're filming, so as it can't give you a bit of a snatch. A seagull shit in my pear once. I had half a pear going on holiday down the River Clyde, splash! A big seagull shit right on top of it. Oh, what? That's when I knew there was no God. The day I became an atheist. A seagull shit in my pear.